In the final days of California's 2024 election, we are seeing a sizable, major shift amongst a surprising group, younger voters. They're going to the right. Plus, Gavin Newsom shows where his real priorities and loyalties lie by giving a massive taxpayer subsidy to one of his biggest campaign contributors. All that and more coming up. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and Winston Churchill once said, if you're not young and liberal, you don't have a heart. If you're not old and conservative, you never developed your brain, or something to that effect. He was highlighting the fact that younger people tend to be more left-leaning when they start out in life. But as the school of hard knocks hits them, and they get life experience, and they realize what the concept of taxation is, or they have to deal with regulation. Their dreams are shattered by some government agency being unjust. They tend to wise up and become conservative. The older voters tend to be a bit more nuanced and a bit more center-right by the end of their lives. Look, we're probably never going to solve the youth leftward tilt, but we are seeing a surprising shift in California, and it does reflect some of the data we're seeing nationwide. Let me share with you what I'm talking about. Every 4 years, the Secretary of State's office conducts a mock election with high school students. They can't vote, but the Secretary of State creates ballots, sends them to schools. The schools participate. Then the Secretary of State actually tabulates the ballots. It's basically, a mini mock election. Pretty cool. I actually like this idea. Let me share with you the numbers in 2020. Here's the screen. This is from the 2020 election. 441 schools registered, 181 schools actually reported ballots. 43,294 high school students voted in the mock election in California. Who did they vote for president? Take a look. Biden won 67.64% of the votes, just a landslide, which was much higher than his near 60% of the vote in California writ large. Trump only got 17.98%, which was like 15, 16, 17 points lower than what he got in the state. It was your third-party candidates that got more votes than what they got in the actual election. The Peace and Freedom Party, I guess that title was really popular with the kids. They got almost 6%. American Independent, 4.5%, and it goes from there. So very interesting in 2020 that the third-party candidates did better than their tally. Democrats did better, and Republicans did much, much, much worse. But take a look at what's going on in 2024. Here are the results from the 2024 mock election amongst high school students in California. Notice something? Donald Trump doubles his percentage from the mid-teens to 35.24%. Kamala Harris dives nearly 20 percentage points from Biden's number with these kids in 2020. And this number of 48.69% is going to be much lower than what I predict the final actual adult vote will be in California for president. Sure enough, Peace and Freedom gets almost 7%. Again, I think it's just because the title Peace and Freedom, the kids like peace and freedom. I mean, who wouldn't? But anyway, that's the lineup showing that there is a marked shift towards the right amongst these high school kids. And we're seeing data nationally to suggest that the high school kids in America today, well, they're not conservative writ large, but they're more conservative. The delta, the disparity between the left and the right, dramatically different. And this is a good thing because that means you start out with more conservatives and then it just builds from there as people, as I mentioned, get the life experience of understanding what costly and unfair tax hikes are going to do to their wallet and their household budget, what mandates, regulations, and unaccountable bureaucracies can do to crush someone's dreams. They will get more conservative with time. This could be a real generational shift. Speaking of shift, Adam Schiff versus Steve Garvey. These high school kids make the race neck and neck, 46.5% to 53.5%. These numbers are significantly closer than what I predict the final tally will be in the state of California. Garvey, as you've heard on this show, I don't think he's run a very good campaign. Love him as a candidate. Love him as a person. He's a wonderful human being. Would be a much better senator than Schiff. But I think that we're looking at a 60-40 race statewide. And that's, again, unfortunate because I think it was, if a number of things went Garvey's way and he ran a perfect campaign, it was more competitive than that. But take a look at these kids. It's 53.5 to 46.5. Going down to the ballot measures, that's where we got the bad news. These kids are far more left-leaning in their voting. On the bonds, 76% want a bond for schools. Gay marriage is about what it's going to be in the state of California, so it's 66% to 34%. Drinking water bonds, 80%. Gutting Prop 13, which is making it easier to raise taxes, 70%, 69.25. Eliminating the ability of prison wardens to tell prisoners that they've got to do work, 52.5%. By the way, I think that one's going to lose when it gets to the actual adults voting. Same thing with Prop 5. And we have a pretty good shot of beating the bonds. So they're more liberal on these votes on the ballot measures. Minimum wage, 67%. Not a surprise there. Most of the kids are the ones getting the minimum wage jobs. They're basically saying, ooh, goody, we might get a salary increase, a wage spike. Rent control, they're in the 53% there. A tax increase on healthcare, 58%. I'm sorry, 76%. That was Prop 35. And then going after the criminals, 65%. That's the one where they're pretty much in line with the electorate, but they tend to be a bit more tax happy and freebie giveaway on these ballot measures, but they're more conservative on the candidate races. Very interesting to see these numbers. I love seeing these numbers. It gives us a little hope. And imagine what would happen if we actually did real outreach to high schools and college campuses to try to win over these younger voters. The Republican Party of California certainly is not doing that. Here at Reform California, we do have a program that we support called California Emerging Leaders. And that's where we have high school and college students go through social programs, internship programs, and yes, educational programs to teach them about conservative ideology, conservative ideas, and get them involved in the fight to take back the state from the left. It's a wonderful program, but we need to expand it. We need to have a lot more of that. And you'll see numbers shift in a greater direction towards the center right if you see that. I want to remind all of you, get out to vote. Engage younger voters. If it's a niece, a nephew, a grandson, a granddaughter, engage younger voters in this election. Try to explain to them what's going on. Many of them don't want to vote. They don't have a good turnout, but you might be able to start educating them on the issues. Do that using our Plain English Voter Guide. And of course, share that with all your friends, family, and neighbors. It's at electionguidecalifornia.org, electionguidecalifornia.org, and it gives you the plain English description of everything on the ballot. I would submit to you that if those high school kids in voting on those propositions had a copy of our Plain English Voter Guide, the numbers would be much better than what you just saw that I just shared. So go to that website, electionguidecalifornia.org, and share the voter guide. We also do endorsements in candidate races, school board, judge races for every region of the state. So check out the races in your local area, electionguidecalifornia.org. I want to end on this latest giveaway by Gavin Newsom. Man, this guy is such an asshat. Newsom wants to raise your taxes. And he always says, well, we don't have money for, freeways and road repairs. We don't have money to stabilize the insurance market. But by golly, we've got $16 billion for free healthcare for illegal immigrants, who are not supposed to be here. This guy's giving away all sorts of money to the migrants. And then he comes out literally the week before the November election talking about wanting to give a bunch of our taxpayer money to his buddies, his friends, his big donors, his liberal pontificators in Hollywood. That's right. The ones that are so woke, we know everything. Well, you're going broke because no one wants your propaganda films or your propaganda shows because they're pissed with you because you're out there monkeying around in politics rather than sticking to your lane, which should be just entertainment. Well, Newsom wants to double the tax credit for the film industry and the entertainment industry in California. He says, oh, well, there's a lot of jobs at stake. If we give them free money, they might stay. How about this? I'm sick and tired of politicians raising everyone's taxes, gutting our important services to give the money to special interests in exchange for campaign contributions and favorable entertainment coverage. And then they turn around and say, certain people with access aren't going to have to pay the high taxes, but you get stuck because you don't have a lobbyist, a labor union, you don't have a lawyer, you don't have a PAC, a campaign contribution entity to line their pockets with money. So you get screwed. You get the higher cost of living. And then they dole out the special exemptions to their campaign contributors like Hollywood or these new voters that they want. If you want to give relief and create jobs, cut taxes for everyone. Stop picking winners and losers by weaponizing the tax system for the good versus the bad, the people with access versus just the run-of-the-mill ordinary folk. Because the ordinary folk always get the shaft. They always get screwed. Mom and pop businesses, small businesses, the average taxpayer, they get screwed with the high cost of living. They don't get the tax relief. They don't get the special contracts and grants and giveaways. The powerful do. And this is a perfect example. And so where are the Republicans pushing back? I talked to a Republican. I said, this is a great opportunity to show that this guy is only about the elites. Well, we like tax credits. We like tax relief. In the industry, maybe they'll give us donations. If we speak out against it, they'll attack us. These people are not your friends, and it's not right to take other people's money and give it to the powerful. So if you want to give tax relief, which is a great goal, don't get me wrong, then what you need to do is talk about flattening and reducing the tax system for everyone. You do that, you're going to have a lot of jobs, a lot more jobs created in a fairer, flatter tax system than having a high tax system that then turns around and gives special exemptions and goodies away to the powerful. So that's where Republicans ought to be talking today. A week before the election, Newsom is backing major tax increases across the state, wanting to make your cost of living higher. And then he turns around and then gives his campaign contributors, the left, a bunch of goodies at your expense. Look, at Reform California, we want to fight to change the Republican Party so that they actually speak out against crap like this and that they can actually fight and win seats again in this state to rebalance our political system. But we can't do that without your help. So please, as I mentioned before, go to that website, electionguidecalifornia.org, get the voter guide, share it, and then chip in a contribution at reformcalifornia.org, reformcalifornia.org. Put gas in our tank so we can continue to fight to take back our state from the insanity of the far left. We only have a few days left in this election. Please get out to vote. Don't wait till election day. Bank that vote early. Verify that your vote is counted and help others in your neighborhood and your family do the same. Until next time, Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. But before you click away, please subscribe to this channel and click that notification button so you get updated when we post new episodes. Plus, like this video and share it with your friends so that we can help spread our message across the state. Reform California with Carl DeMaio is paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly.